Hey folks, in a previous video, somebody was making fun of my man cave down here in my basement again. It's making fun of my TV right here. You can see it. It's a 55-inch TV, and he said, that's the best you can do in your man cave. Well, let me move my head a little bit. Look over this shoulder. That's a 132-inch screen for a projector. Have a theater room in my basement, had it down here 14 years. It's been a great hangout for my kids. Sometimes they play games on this TV and watch a movie on that one, or have a basketball game on that one, play video games on this one, or do split screen on this one, do video games. So nobody that knows me has ever said I have too small a TV. So I thought I needed to clean that one up. Hey, folks, I may have a unique vantage point here with fire, and not only because I have retired at the age of 54, but whenever I leave a fire video, and I've been leaving them pretty regularly for about a month now, I get about 150 connections for every video. That's either a comment that I'll get engaged with somebody in, an email that they send me from my email that I include below. They'll set up a phone call with me. About every one of those turn into 150 connections. Some of them are pretty short, but with that's caused me to conclude that there is a massive need for support in a fire movement. Yes, you could go to a financial advisor, but they're talking about retirement. They're studied retirement. They know all the tools, and they know the people that are going through that. And I think they offer a unique, invaluable service, exposure to all the tools. But almost none of them, especially the ones here on YouTube, almost none of them are actually in retirement. They're the percentage of the people talking about retirement is there's 99 of those for every one person that is in retirement. And the execution side of fire and the emotional side of fire is actually pretty darn big, folks. And that's what the interactions I'm having with people, they're not asking for financial advice. Yeah, some are, some are, and I'm not the right guy to give any detailed financial advice, but more of a life coach kind of stuff. So finances is a very private matter, and I think people are starving for that to talk to somebody and say, "Hey, am I on track? Does this make sense to you?" And they're talking to a stranger. No, maybe I just got a friendly face, and I don't know, but you wouldn't believe what people share with me. Folks, um, I really think there's a need for, and my advice to you, this is not detailed financial advice, but one of the things I do, even with my knowledge and expertise and years at doing this, I have two more confidants that I bring in and do intimate sharing with my finances. Right now I'm going through Roth conversions, looking at how much, here's how much, I'm using the buckets. Um, this is not a bucket video, but how much should I convert this year? Markets are kind of high, I'd like to catch a like 10-15% drop before I converted, but so I'm talking to them about should I convert. So I have that trusted group of individuals, and our charter says, you guys are supposed to challenge me. You're not supposed to say, withhold any punches. Tell me I'm doing stupid. Still my decision, but tell me I'm doing stupid. You know me, you know how I'm invested, my risk are. Tell me what you would do. Tell me how you think I ought to handle the situation, because we're all in a little different situation. So forming a financial group of a team of 3 or 4 people, I think is imperative to somebody that's on fire. You have somebody to talk to. I really think that's important for you to do. You can talk to a financial advisor, but I know, they know great. They have a great toolkit to offer, and they study a lot of people, but they're not going through it themselves, and that's different. I think there's something lacking there. They're not bad people. I know a lot of great financial advisors. They know tools and have studied this, but the execution and emotional side, they don't have to deal with. They're just looking at the facts, and I'm telling you, fear and confidence are major issues when you're on a fire journey. You can see that through all the comments, or I can see that through all the comments and all the discussions I'm being bombarded with. And whenever you mention something a little controversial, people attack you. And one of the things I've learned over my career, and this is my lingo, if I say if 2 plus 2 ever equals 5, and the emotional response is not in proportion to the topic you're covering, so like 2 plus 2 equals 5, it blows up. There's an emotional trigger there. And a lot of times that's fear. So I'm sitting here in this video saying, folks, really give this financial group, a financial think tank that you're a part of, at least 3 people, maybe 4 would probably be best. I really would ask you to give that a shot, because you're sharing some basics with me and asking me for my advice. First thing I say is, I'm not a financial advisor. Here's what I did on my path, and this with my situation. These are things you need to be thinking about, but they're not what I don't know your story. I don't know your story at all. So I'm going to jump onto like a topic related to that. A friend of mine named Mark, he always had this quote. He probably introduced this to me 20 years ago. He said, it takes a carpenter to build a barn, in several weeks, but it takes a jackass to knock that down in just a few hours. When you're on a fire journey, you got all the critics out there. You got all the people that aren't making the tough choices you are. They're getting the new cars and the new boats, and they're spending freely, searching for happiness, and they're not making the good long-term choices as a group. Everybody can make the choices they want, but they lash out. They lash out at people like you that are on a journey that says, hey, I'd like to retire at 45. I'd like to retire at 50. I'd like to retire at 55. And those are decisions that you need to make over decades. It was a 30-year journey for me. It was a 30-year journey of, not suffering. Don't say I suffered. 30 years of choices I've made not to live above my means and not have toys buy me happiness. That is, I have my 132-inch screen, but I've had it for 14 years. And it was great for, my kids growing up here. We were the magnet for, teenage kids to come and hang out in our house. And, it was a pretty small investment to get that. It's a projector, it's not a LCD screen that's 132 inches. So fire does take decades. So, you're carpenters. You guys on a fire journey, you're carpenters. It takes many years, many years to build what you're trying to build. And I'm telling you, the jackasses are everywhere trying to throw you, hey, what about this? What about this? I live my life today. There's no guarantee of tomorrow. And, criticizing and cutting you down and trying to knock you off and force you to have a weak moment, make a poor decision. That's just life. You've got the jackasses out there, folks. But topic number 3 here, last for this video, the most common advice I give. I'd say this is about 50% of the time, because people are saying, am I ready to retire? I don't know what I would do in retirement. I think I'll be bored in retirement. 90% of the people that retire in their 50s, they go back to work because they're bored, which I think is funny. And most of you probably think is funny. But the advice, retire to something, not from something. If you hate your job, you're 52, you hate your job, you're financially ready to go, and you just want to quit, I'm telling you, retirement's going to be a little frustrating for you, because you're going to sit and you're going to have all this time, and you're not going to have a purpose. You're not going to have a place to put your passion, right? And, yeah, you will get bored. So while you're still working, while you're still engaged in your career, even if you like your career, I was passionate about my career, very passionate, very emotional leader, in my job. But I chose to bring those passions, the passion and drive and work ethic and the tools and skills I had, I chose to put them on other things, nonprofits, two nonprofits I'm a part of. Okay. Travel, I chose to bring those passions elsewhere, helping others, this YouTube channel, my consulting, my work with in reliability and maintenance is a passion. I went to two conferences last month. I paid out of my own pocket, to speak at conferences, trying to show people another way of creating a reliability culture that's completely different than everybody else is doing. It's a mission. Somebody said, Joe, you're not a consultant, you're an evangelist, and I kind of like that. I'm trying to evangelize and show it doesn't have to be this way. So take your passions from work to something else. And that's what I'm doing. Um, Bored? It's been 3 years, folks. I'm not bored at all. Not bored at all. So, find what you're retiring to. While you're working, bringing in money, what are you retiring to? If you're retiring to something, guess what? You'll solve the healthcare issue that you have. Where am I going to get healthcare from? You'll solve that if you're passionate enough about, I got to retire because I want this new life. I want this new chapter in my life. You'll figure it out once you know what you're retiring to. So have that in your mind, okay? So, hey, this is Joe out.